Third down and 20.
Speaking of bait, we got bait or great. I'll kick us off. Jake's team, the New York Giants, Sterling Shepard. Now, Sterling Shepard, someone that I think as a podcast as a whole, we've kind of been on for a while. Like, we've been saying that he's
only ever been a health
below
thing.
the radar.
It's only ever been a health thing with him.
I got a couple things. So, Sterling Shepard, one, I think he's the new Marvin Jones. Even though Marvin Jones is Marvin Jones, I think Sterling Shepard is also Marvin Jones, where it's just
kind of like that comp.
Criminally low-rated guy who just only produces. Now, Lounis, you're right. It is a health thing, right? But if you look at when Sterling Shepard's been healthy, the 2 times he finished 16-game seasons, he's been a wide receiver 3 both times. Now, he's currently a wide receiver 1, which I don't necessarily expect to continue. But I do think he is that guy on the Giants offense. I know they brought in Kenny Golladay for a massive contract. Not massive contract, but he was like the highest paid wide receiver this year, which even then wasn't crazy, but they spent a decent amount of money on Kenny Golladay. I still think Sterling Shepard's the guy. We talked about Darius Slayton when he started blowing up. Even then, I think Sterling Shepard was the guy. And we're at the point where even right now on Keep Trade Cut, Sterling Shepard, after his 2 games, after his crazy success and all the stuff where he's shot up, he's still considered at wide receiver 48. If he has a full season, like, I just don't see how he finishes outside the top 30 wide receivers. Now you can argue, okay, but there are people younger than him. There are people that can do better than him. Sterling Shepard's still young. Like, he's not an old player. He's 28 years old. Marvin Jones is 31. We see Marvin Jones still producing. I know I keep pointing to him, but you could get 2-3 years of solid production for Sterling Shepard at a price that's like nothing still at this point.
I think you'd have to pay like a second right now to get him. But I agree with you in that if we have if he cools off a little bit, which we're all expecting a little bit of regression just because Daniel Jones isn't going to get to play the Washington football team every week.
I think they'll get Golladay a little bit more involved as the season goes on.
But Sterling Shepard, you can make an argument, is like the most versatile receiver in that offense, which is weird to say because they do have Kenny Golladay, but just like you can put the ball in his hands. He's halfway decent vertically down the field. He's really good underneath. Like, he really is a great receiver that's going to be cheap. So, like, I would keep an eye on him for him to, like, slow down a little bit, toss out a 3rd-round pick and see if I could snag him. But I'm not sure you'll be able to do that.
Look, if the going rate for 2nd-round picks, people are giving up 2nd-round picks for Marquez Callaway and Devin Singletary and Devontae Parker. I'm giving out a 2nd-round pick for Sterling Shepard. Right?
You want to know who's scooping up all the seconds? I'm scooping them all up. I'll take all.
Look, if I'm a contending team and I need that kind of just consistent flex play, like, I truly think that's Sterling Shepard this year. I think you're going to be hard. There are some other players. There are some other sneaky wide receivers that we might be getting into. Maybe not today, but there are other sneaky wide receivers I think are also worth that kind of second price. But like, if it's a late 2022 second, I don't value that highly at all. And if I think that's helping me win a championship, it's gone. It's off my roster.
No, dude, freaking my 2nd-round pick might outscore Marquez Callaway right now.
Oh, true. Well, I'm not talking about trading my 2nd for Callaway. I'm talking about trading my 2nd for Sterling Shepard. Way better.
Just the pick, not even the play. Just the pick might outscore him.
Like, that's the thing, though, is that I think you got to be a little bit more calculated than just being like, dude, fuck it, I'm contending 2nd-round picks, baby. Give me a Callaway. Give me a
I almost think 2nd-round picks are overvalued at this point. There are like late 2nd-round picks. You don't really see a whole lot coming out of the late 2nd round, to the point of where I think they're a similar toss-up to a 3rd-round pick, where I think 3rd-round picks are getting undervalued and 2nd-round picks are overvalued.
I do agree about 3rd-round picks being undervalued. 2nd-round picks, it being early or late changes my opinion on it drastically. Like, because
sure, those
early seconds you can still get 1st-round talent, or what people consider like early seconds this year. You got guys like Bateman. I like the early seconds, but if I know I'm a playoff team, like if I'm looking around the league and I'm like, something colossal would have to happen in this team where I'm not a playoff team, like I don't really have an issue trading with my 2nd-round pick. There are very few people after 206 in most. If I'm a playoff team and it's my own 2nd, I'm okay with parting with it. Early second, I love.
Who from this round? Who from? Now we're getting on a little side.
I'll go the past three drafts. I'll give you three, and I drafted all of them. Dimey Brown drafted at 212 in a league. We were all in that league. It was our orphan league.
Yeah, we like Dimey.
2 years ago, Chase Claypool. 3 years ago, Deontay Johnson. Thanks.
I'll even go as far as I mean, just through the first two games, I think Kenny Gainwell's looked great.
Are you kidding me? You would rather have Kenny Gainwell than Sterling Shepard?
The upside.
That's what you're saying. You'd rather have Kenny Gainwell than Sterling Shepard. You think Kenny Gainwell's looked great through his first three games. We have Sterling Shepard as a wide receiver 1 through his first couple games.
I mean, you're saying you give up
you're saying your knee ligament is out for half the season.
You're saying you trade a second round pick for
Kenny Gainwell.
I'm kidding. I like them both. I think they're both good players for their value. Like I agree with you. I'd rather give up a second for Sterling Shepard than a lot of these other players because, like you said, Sterling Shepard's a player that you can buy and you can hold for the next 2 or 3 years, and you can just hold him into the sunset, to be honest, and he's going to outperform his ADP. He's going to outperform his value. He's like Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley, dude, you can't get shit for him, but he's going to outperform his ADP and he's going to outperform his value, and those players are nice to have on your team.
Yes. Fair. Yeah, exactly. All right. Our next guy is Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, beta great.
I don't even know anymore. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. Like he's looked fantastic. He's looked really good, but like it's still Zeke's backfield. I think I'm gonna lean bait here. I think people are gonna get caught up on these first two games. I know Zeke's aging and people are very worried about Zeke, but Zeke's gonna end up with over 1,000 yards, probably close to 7-8 touchdowns, and he's gonna end up finishing in that RB 10 range, and people are going to go, "Oh, Zeke had a quietly good year." Like it's just it's bait because Tony Pollard's going to finish at best running back 25. Like where's
coming from the guy that's in love with another backup running back? Get out of here.
Oh,
he's in love with 2 backup running backs apparently. Kenny Gainwell. Geez.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the problem that I have with Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, good player. Right? But we've now mix-and paradoxed him. Because the only way you're going to sell him is if you're getting like actual running back price. I'm not selling him for like a late second. What's the point of me doing that? Like, okay, if he cools off massively, but like, why? I'd rather just bet on the upside. But then all of a sudden, if you're giving up like actual running back price, okay, yeah, I'm going to sell Tony Pollard. But name me someone who's going to give up an actual running back price for Tony Pollard. I just don't see it happening.
No. Unless maybe if they own Zeke and they just really want Pollard.
Yeah, but you're not paying that for a handcuff. You're paying that because you think that Tony Pollard's going to be the future back of the Dallas Cowboys. And I am not paying future back of the Dallas Cowboys price for Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, he could be a good flex play. Maybe even an RB2. But I'm not paying like because then all of a sudden who's above RB 22? Those running backs I'd rather have.
I have a question real quick, just so I can kind of check the temperature on them. JT, do you mind doing me a quick favor?
Yeah, what do you need?
Can you check where Tony Pollard is on Keep Trade Cut? Who's he around? What draft pick?
Too high.
I want to see how he's being ranked right now. Because before I give my take, because beta debate, I want to know what he's being considered.
Yeah, well, all right. You guys are going to know my feelings about this when I list the players he's ranked around. He's ranked around what would have been 2021's pick 202, so an early second. Rashad Bateman, DJ Chark, and Terrace Marshall.
Okay. Taking Rondale Moore over him, easy.
Well, I think Rondale Moore is probably like a late first now.
But if I could get 201 and I know it's 201 or like 112, I'm taking it easy. 202.
If I know that the worst person in my league's paying for Tony Pollard, like see Tony Pollard.
It's tough with it because what I do think is kind of interesting is we're talking about possibly Cedric Wilson as a waiver pickup this year. It looks like they kind of replaced Gallup's receiving work with Tony Pollard. They got him more involved in the receiving game last game. So Tony Pollard has these kind of games where like you watch it and you're like, he's definitely more explosive than Zeke, but is he like the better better runner. Obviously, Zeke's a significantly better pass protector, which is huge for that Dallas offense and Dak Prescott. And that's why deservedly he's going to stay on the field a lot. So even last year, I love Tony Pollard. He's been someone I liked. 202 price. Like I liked him at like kind of the later second price. At 202, I just need to see more of it. It's been 2 games.
But that's the thing. If you wait and see more of it,
I know if you wait and see more,
your thoughts get confirmed, you're going to miss that.
If you're going to miss that,
he's now going to be worth more.
I'm so glad missing out on Tony Pollard. I'm not.
Oh, I am as well. I'm not saying I'm going to.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what if I own Zeke Elliott, I would pay an early second. If I own Zeke Elliott,
that's
I
a
don't
lot
think that
for
changes
Hank,
it for me. I really.
He's more valuable if I own Zeke.
Why?
It's just the question you're asking me is if I'm willing to buy high on Tony Pollard, and I am not willing to buy high on Tony Pollard. I wasn't willing to buy low on Tony Pollard. I just happened to have him. I'm the Zeke owner. Like, I'm not all of a sudden being like, after one good game, okay, Tony Pollard's the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah, he's a dynamic player. Yeah, he's pretty good. I just really don't believe in him being the actual running back or carving out a consistent enough role down the line. This year, okay, he's fine. If in your redraft leagues, go pick him up. He can be a nice flyer. I'm just not willing to pay his price in a dynasty league. I'm not willing to risk it.
I agree with Frank. All right. Quarterback, Detroit Lions, Jared Goff. Bait or great?
Yeah, is Jared Goff a good, a decent QB2 now?
I think great's a strong word, but I think for his price, which is probably
whoever bought him this offseason,
not that high. In terms of quarterbacks in a superflex league, I think he's a good buy. I said it as in the offseason as it was my scorching take. I said Jared Goff will finish as a QB1 this season. Right now, I think he's QB8 overall, but a lot of that is due to week 1 against San Francisco, where he passed the ball 57 times for over 325 yards and 3 touchdowns and all that. But, last night on Monday Night Football, he looked okay.
He looked better in the first half when it wasn't raining.
Yeah.
When it was raining, it kind of slowed the passing down.
But I think
he couldn't hold on to the football.
Yeah.
It was the rain. He's a California kid. He's a California kid. He's not used to that Green Bay weather.
Can't hold on the football. Rough night for the Goffster.
He has certain plays where you're like, oh, that was pretty electric. Like, his throw into the back of the end zone, Quintez Cephas, where he just like almost snagged it but didn't. And it's like, oh, like that's really good. Like that's encouraging. And then he has some like, what are you doing plays? Like, what is that, Jared Goff? Where like he's scrambling and like he's got easy check downs and he just forces it into triple coverage and gets picked off. Like
last night's game was a prime example of why Jared Goff was the number 1 overall pick, where he showed a lot of flashes, but then you go, all right, that's why the Rams traded him.
Yeah. Like that was that coaching staff did him many favors that game though.
Oh no, I agree, but I think it showed both sides of Jared Goff. But in terms of what his price is right now and what
what's his price?
What's his price? Probably like an early second. Probably not much more than that.
See, the only problem I have with Jared Goff is that I agree. In the offseason, if you could pick him up for a mid-second, I think that's a pretty decent deal. Like for me, if Rondale Moore and then Elijah Moore go off the board, then yeah, that mid-second, like 205, 206, probably in a lot of drafts, I'm willing to trade that for Jared Goff. Maybe even to 204 in some scenarios. But I think the entire time the Goff owners have wanted more and are not willing to sell for that. I think that's the only problem.
Do we think Goff can be like kind of a long-term guy there? I feel like that's kind of the ultimate question with him.
Yeah, if they stop asking him to outduel Aaron Rodgers, maybe they'll win some football games.
Yeah, too bad he plays in the NFC North, so.
Well, the thing is, you stop asking him to throw every freaking down. Every time it's a pressure situation, to 3rd and 1. Oh, why don't you throw a comeback? Oh, it's 4th and 1. Like, are you never going to run the ball? Like, too high.
I agree.
It doesn't matter what the situation is. They're just asking Jared Goff, hey, go in here on the road and beat Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, it's not going to happen.
If they're a top 5 pick this year, I think they're just going to have a very hard time skipping over quarterback. He'll probably be Jimmy G.
I could see Dan Campbell being the type to take the better overall talent, even if it's a position outside of quarterback.
Yeah, same.
They do need everything, but like at the end of the day, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a team.
I don't know. I actually think they just need to draft good players. If that good player,
I think they just take the best talent, whoever the best player available.
I think they should take the best talent because the quarterbacks in 2023 much better.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Like, give Goff a second year, just draft the best talent, and then I think Goff deserves 2 years.
I mean, you come 2023, you get Ugalele. I can't even say that.
I haven't really loved him.
DJ
Ugalele.
Well, let's go. Let's finish off these Bader grades because we're starting to run low on time here.
Okay, so this is who I want to talk about: Hollywood Brown, Marquise Hollywood Brown, and I drafted him in our Dynasty League in an original year, but my thing with Hollywood Brown is like he's just such a polarizing player. Like he's been on such a hot like streak recently that's kind of hard to deny, where he's caught 6 touchdowns at the end of like the last 6 games last year. Yep. He's caught 2 touchdowns to start this year. It's a really hot streak, but at the end of the day, I don't think we're going to see that kind of like target share and what's going on with Marquise Brown. He had 10 targets against the Chiefs. I don't think he's had 10 targets. He's had 10 targets twice actually, 2 other times in his career. I just don't think it's a norm. I don't think he's really – I think Lamar has improved as a passer, or more so people recognize that Lamar can pass, including his offensive coordinator. The chemistry is better, sure. But like I was saying earlier with Rashad Bateman, you guys know how I feel about Rashad Bateman. I had him as 106 in the Superflex drafts. 109, sorry. I had him as 109 in Superflex. Did I have him at 106? I might have him at 106 in Superflex. Yeah. And Terrace Marshall at 109. I really like Bateman. I think Bateman is going to be the number 1 wide receiver for the Ravens. And I think on a team where Frank showed you they're not a high passing offense, I think Bateman is going to be that one go-to guy on this team. Maybe it won't happen right away. He's coming back from injury. It might take him a little while to ramp up. So Hollywood could be good for these, the next month plus. But if we're talking dynasty and we're talking what the price could get to for Hollywood Brown, I'm out. I'm selling bait.
I like Hollywood. I'm thinking he's great. I think that, like you guys said, the chemistry is the most important thing. Him and Lamar are on the same page. And it's not like he's not efficient with the targets that he gets. Aside from that one overthrow, it's that connection has been absolutely fine.
I was about to say he should have even had a better game, because that Lamar overthrow in the beginning of the game, that should have been another like 55, 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah, my thing with the should-haves, though, is like we get kind of into a gray area of like, Brian Edwards should have 2.
I mean, okay, but even if you throw that away, he still had 100 yards.
It looks like he's gotten a little bit bigger. I think he's finally acclimated at the end of last year and now continuing into this year into the NFL game. I think we finally see him get comfortable in the NFL game.
And it is his 3rd year. We see historically the wide receiver 3rd-year breakout.
The one sneaky plus I'll add, and this goes for both him and Deebo Samuel, is they both had Liz Frank injuries 2 years ago. And there's been stuff that says it takes like a full year to kind of recover from this.
That's actually very interesting.
Could we be seeing them at like their actual like potential now? Maybe, but it's just still too tough for me to put him as high as he's going. If we look on Keep Trade Cut, I'm going to pull him up real quick.
If that is the case, that's going to be tough with ETN. We won't be able to really know how good he is until his 3rd year.
Yeah, and at that point,
running backs.
The thing is, though, JT, is that I think that Bateman coming back might.
It actually might help.
It might help Hollywood Brown. Not his upside. His upside will definitely be capped. But I think it'll help his consistency that he really didn't have until the second half of last year.
The issue, though, is like, does Bateman coming back? This is what I was kind of alluding to earlier, right? Does Bateman coming back really help everyone? Like, is it going to help Mark Andrews?
I think there are different scenarios. Like, I mean, we've seen situations where a receiver succeeds better when he has another good one across from him. I said the same thing.
But a rookie coming off an injury is not a guy that the defenses are going to go, yeah, we have to watch out for that guy. Like, he's not a guy that defenses are going to shift to.
I'm saying
immediately. And he's going to have to come in and show he's healthy, one, and show he can actually play in the NFL, too. He's
the response.
I think that if Bateman is Bateman, like if Bateman is what
I'm
JT
saying, if
thinks
he's as
he
good
is,
as you
this
guys are
offense
saying,
becomes elite. This offense becomes literally the best offense in the NFL. And
I'm not denying that, but
that.
that's a massive if. That is a massive if.
Here's what I'm saying. I know JT brought up the Bateman argument. I'm saying if he's as good as you guys are projecting him to be, and I like Bateman, what is it? I think that can help him. I said the same thing with, even though they're both young and the one coming in was a rookie, I said Devontae Smith I thought would help Reagor. Personally, I think Rager's looked a little bit better this year than he did last year. And so I could see the same thing happening with Hollywood. Obviously, like Frank said, it limits his complete upside. But either Bateman's good and he helps draw those number one corners away from him, or B, if he's not that good, then Hollywood can kind of continue what he's doing right now.
All right. Quick round the horn, and then we'll move on to our last two guys. Hollywood Brown or Elijah Moore?
Elijah Moore.
I'm gonna take the upside of Elijah Moore.
I'm gonna take Elijah Moore, but they're really close to each other.
Hollywood Brown, Brandon Cooks.
Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood.
Brandon Cooks.
Cooks.
I don't know.
I'm taking Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, this is currently where Hollywood's
See, that's the thing, though, is that I want to pick up Hollywood Brown for cheap, because to me, Hollywood Brown could be one of those dudes that's like 150 points a year, and he has a little bit of upside from there. I don't think he has that alpha, like, stud number one upside, though. So,
I think he could be a good wide receiver, too.
I view Hollywood Brown as, like, he
scored
be
150
a Sterling
last year.
Shepard, stuff like that. I really don't see him being a wide receiver one, and I like Hollywood Brown. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Last two guys, Mike Williams, bait or great?
Bait.
I say bait.
I like him for this year.
Mega
He's a
for the most
fine
part,
player, but it's just I don't think Mike Williams is going to see the consistency that people are thinking he's going to have. I think it's still the same old Mike Williams. He's a good player. Not the 49ers. The Chargers receivers are a little bit banged up right now, which is helping him out, but I just don't think it's gonna keep going.
My thing with Mike Williams is this. The reason I real quick, and I'll let you go, Jake. The reason I say this year, and I'm not as high long term. So for redraft, and if you're a contender trying to win right now, I actually do like Mike Williams as a buy, depending on the price.
Because his price is so high right now after these first 2 weeks.
Real quick, while I'm saying this, JT, do you mind pulling up where he's at for me? Thanks. But let me make my case real quick. I feel like before they were just kind of using him too much as only a deep threat. I think this year I kind of like more what they're doing in terms of using him more as a possession receiver. I don't think anyone's taking that number 2 spot. I think Herbert is an absolute superstar quarterback. I know fantasy-wise he hasn't been amazing this year, but Herbert's the fucking truth. He's phenomenal. And so with Mike Williams, why I say this year, I don't think the Chargers are going to re-sign him to a big deal. He's in a contract year, and I don't know how I'm going to feel if he goes somewhere else, what situation. But for this season, and this is more, I guess, for redraft, where I really like him, for Dynasty if you're a contender this year, I think he's going to have a really good season this year.
Robert Woods, 201.
No shot. It's just, you could spend all of that.
It's not even close. With what
he's valued at the end.
Like I could agree that Mike Williams is a good player. I would like to have Mike Williams on my team right now, but I'm just not paying that for him. That's way too much.
Yeah, I say bait. All right. Last guy, Cordero Patterson.
Bait.
Kind of talk to him.
Easy bait.
I also think bait.
It is a yearly thing. He's literally the Sammy Watkins, but for like week 2. It's just every
week
year
2 Watkins.
Yeah.
I'd rather him. I don't know. This
hold on. In Dynasty and rest of the season, would you guys rather own Mike Davis or Cordero Patterson?
That's why I was just debating. I think I'd rather have Cordero Patterson.
I think I'd rather Patterson.
Mike Davis. Give me Cordero Patterson. But
yeah,
other than that,
Cordero Patterson is just we've seen this before. He has one good game at running back, and then all of a sudden the next week they try to force it, and he's just not able to get those rushing lanes. Like, yes, he could be dynamic when he has space, but once teams realize that, oh shit, Cordero Patterson's actually going to be playing, let's just keep our gap integrity, because as long as we keep him somewhat bottled up and not in open space, he's not going to punish us through the tackles. He's just
what I actually like is that they were getting him the ball into. I'm more of a fan of what they did with him in the receiving game, not even as much in the rushing game. I think they were getting him involved with short passes, letting him make plays in space. Again, I'm not really high on him or Davis. I'm just picking between the two.
At the price of Blake Jarwin, Dawson Knox, Salvin Ahmed.
I like him more than all those guys.
I'll take Cordell.
What's the closest draft pick to it? Is he like what, a mid third, late third? Probably less.
Probably like a fourth.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some little bit of digging here.
I do it like a mid.
I would do
late
that,
late third.
But no one's gonna sell at that. No one's gonna.
Davis.
People might sell at that because they probably just picked him up off waivers.
Hasn't updated like enough yet because he's definitely a super popular waiver claim if he's on waivers right now in your league.
I know, but I wouldn't be surprised if a ton of owners are just like, I think it's possible to get him for an early fourth. Like a ton of owners could just be like, okay, I just picked him up last week.
He's a third. He's definitely a third.
I would sell him for a third. I think I would sell him for a third. And if I really desperately need a running back, and is he listed as a running back right now?
He's actually, that's also another cool thing of fantasy. He is both receiver and running back eligibility.
Yeah. But no tight end though. Rats.
No tight end.
No. Yeah, he doesn't have the important tight end spot.
Yeah, right.
All right.
It's just I'll sell Cordero Patterson.